How many next Mondays have you promised yourself, only to wake up 6 months later in the exact same place? Still scrolling, still distracted, still stuck in that loop of almost started. You swore you'd change, but life got loud. Motivation faded, and that voice in your head, it whispered, "You've got time." No, you don't. Let me hit you with the truth. 6 months is all it takes to completely change your life. Not 6 years, not someday. 6 months of radical focus, relentless discipline, and daily execution. But most people, they waste it. They drift. They dabble. They delay. And when the dust settles, they wonder why nothing's different. You want the breakthrough? You want to become unshakably disciplined? You want to finally feel proud when you look in the mirror? Then this is the moment. Because in the next 6 months, you can become the person no one, even you, thought you could be. And if you want the exact system to do it, step by step, no fluff, comment the number 7 below right now. I'll share it with you. No guesswork, no delays, just pure execution. Let's go. Envision yourself resolving this very second to make the next 6 months different. For the first time in your life, you would commit fully. You would rid yourself of any and all obstacles, excuses, and weaknesses that have held you back. You would start each day with a clear plan, follow it to the letter, and never let up. Where would you be in 6 months if you made that kind of commitment? If you really put in that kind of effort? Just how much more powerful is it? How much more acute? Is your dream life getting any closer to reality? It is a question that the majority of people never, ever consider. Someday, they promise themselves, they will change. When the moment is right, they'll go serious, they say. Unfortunately, the correct moment never arrives, and someday isn't even an actual calendar day. The time is now alone. Those who make it big, stand out from the crowd, and achieve their goals are the ones that know that time is not a commodity they can afford to squander. This brings us to the choice you must make. Are you prepared to assume complete command? Is it time for you to end the waiting? Would you be willing to subject oneself to 6 months of non-stop execution? Imagine for only 6 months becoming the most self-controlled, laser-focused, and formidable version of yourself. Reason being, if you are, you're going to see advancements the majority of people will never see in a lifetime. Plus, you won't want to turn back once you realize your potential. We are not discussing inspiration here. This isn't about having a brief burst of inspiration followed by a complete lack of commitment. Success is assured by adhering to this strategy, which consists of a well-organized set of steps. A strategy that will challenge you to develop, to change, and to overcome whatever obstacle you may have believed was standing in your way. A strategy that will alter your outlook, routines, level of self-control, and output. If you are prepared, dedicated, and prepared to put in the work, then the following 6 months will be the most impactful, fruitful, and life-altering months that you have ever experienced. There is no turning back once you begin, commit, and see the transformative force of persistent execution. In this 6-month approach, accepting complete responsibility for your current situation is the first step. The days of attributing blame to external factors are over. Put an end to blaming others. Things won't change by themselves anymore. You can only be where you want to be if something is wrong with you. Here you are, as a result of your choices. You need to start making better choices now if you want to alter where you are in 6 months. The majority of individuals never really own their lives. They point fingers at their background, their surroundings, their childhood, and the people in their lives. In their minds, outside forces are to blame for their impasse, so they tell themselves. Winners, however, do not think in such a way. The key to success is realizing that you can influence the future, regardless of the past. They spare no effort in griping about matters beyond their control. What they can influence is where their attention is entirely focused. Also, you must do it. Starting right now, you need to make the mental shift that says you are solely responsible for your actions, outcomes, habits, thinking, and success. It is up to you to make changes in your life if anything is wrong. You should take action if you are unhappy with your current situation. My excuses are over. Stop wasting time. Time is no longer wasted. Defining your objectives precisely is the next step. Not having a specific goal in mind is the main reason why most individuals fail. They claim to want success, but they are unable to specify what it entails. Even if they claim to desire to become better, they don't know what it entails. Real development is impossible to achieve without a clear and quantifiable objective. In light of this, you should ask yourself, where do I see myself in 6 months? What are your objectives? Which abilities are you hoping to hone? Is there a certain habit you'd want to form? Which parts of your life may need some work? Then, be precise. What does it entail if you want to improve your physical fitness? Dropping a certain number of pounds? Muscle growth? Can you run a mile faster? What does it take to be financially successful? Making a certain sum of money? Can I save a certain percentage? Putting up an enterprise? No clear objectives lead to no clear outcomes. To avoid wasting time and energy aiming for the wrong thing, you need a goal that is crystal clear. Goals aren't enough. A strategy is also required, just because it is not sufficient to establish objectives. Saying you desire something is easy for anybody. Winners have a plan, which sets them apart from everyone else. They do more than that. On a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, they execute these tasks. What are the daily requirements to achieve your objective of being in the greatest form of your life in 6 months? Tell me about your training program. What should you eat to stay healthy? What is the recommended amount of sleep time? What are the precise measures that must be taken in order to achieve monetary success? Should you look at ways to boost your income, raise spending limits, learn something new, launch your own company? Every day, you must commit to doing something particular that will get you closer to your objective. Next, you must act with unrelenting zeal, for the simple reason that here is where the vast majority of learners fall short. Aims are declared. A strategy is devised. However, they never really do anything about it. Distractions were allowed to hinder their progress. Their behaviors are controlled by their emotions. Their ambitions were thwarted by their inconsistency. But you won't be that. You will be highly disciplined during the following 6 months, showing up each day and carrying out your strategy. And herein is the secret. Your internal discussions need to come to an end. Give yourself alternatives, and you'll fail more often than not. Upon waking up, they contemplate, am I in the mood to do this today? And you're already down and out the second you even consider it. Because it's human nature to choose ease over challenge, the simpler path will always be chosen. Its problem is that it is always trying to find a way out of having to work hard. Competitors do not bargain with one another, however. In the mornings, they don't wonder whether they should go to the gym. They just do it, I said. They are not debating whether or not to go through with their strategy. In spite of setbacks, they carry out their strategy. Their acts are set in stone and cannot be changed. They get success as a result of it. You need to cultivate this attitude. Taking action when you aren't in the mood is going to be crucial to your success in the following 6 months. Remaining disciplined is more important than giving in to your emotions. Your dedication ought to outweigh your justifications. Pay more attention than anything else that can divert you. For the simple reason that most individuals take years to do what you can accomplish in only 6 months, if you can master the art of acting without thinking twice. The strength of this strategy lies on that fact. The issue is not one of inspiration. Emphasis is not the point. Consistent, disciplined activity is the key to systemically altering your life. Decisions that push you to develop are what it's all about. To not be somewhat better in 6 months, but much better, you must constantly challenge yourself to do more than you thought possible. Your current self is completely different from who you were in the past. Okay, then here's your task. Effortlessly go forward. Misconduct is over. Forget about tying everything up in a knot. Starting now, you are fully present each and every day without exception, because nothing can stand in your way if you put your mind to it with this degree of commitment. Gaining total command of your schedule and objectives is the first rung on the ladder to success in this 6-month approach. Doing everything else will fail until you have this. Any and all objectives are at your discretion. Everything in the world is at your fingertips. No one will take charge of your schedule except you if you let them. Things that divert your attention will consume your time. Nonsensical matters will sap your strength. Also, you won't realize it until 6 months have gone by and nothing has changed. For that reason, this must be the primary pledge you make. My objective will be the focus of every second of my life. Many individuals let their time to pass them by. Shortly after waking up, they respond to everything around them, and that's before they even get out of bed in the morning. For this reason, they refuse to move. Autopilot is their way of life. A system is not in place. There is no framework for them. That is why they are unable to achieve any significant advancements. That way of life, nevertheless, is not going to continue. You will be the master of your own schedule from now on. In the morning, you will have a strategy, and you will carry it out without any reservations. No outside forces will be able to derail your plans today. Things that do not contribute to your objective will not be given your time and attention. You will regard each hour as if it were your most precious asset, and that is exactly what you will do. As a result, limits must be established. Wasted time may be eliminated in this way. If you want to stay focused on your goal, you have to avoid distractions, because this is the reality. There is no action that does not either get you one step closer to your objectives or one step distant from them. There is no middle ground. I will take care of it later. Only 5 more minutes before the end, I'm afraid. Go forward or go backward, that's all. You have to make progress every single day if you want to change your life in 6 months. Many individuals fall short in this area. Despite a good start, they fail to safeguard their time. There are too many demands placed on them, and they give in to them. They succumb to diversions. Doing meaningless stuff takes up a lot of their time, and it is the reason they stop making progress. Their concentration wanes. Their previous behaviors return to them. But you won't be that. You are going to design a plan that will guarantee your success. The time you wake up each day will be consistent. Mornings will be structured so that you make the most of your energy. Deep work, training, and personal development will occupy certain time slots. Nothing, not even little matters, will derail your purpose. Above everything else, you will never deviate from your planned agenda. Why? Because you'll never win if you start compromising with yourself, making exceptions, or avoiding tasks just because you're not in the mood. The key is not to put in more hours. This is all about becoming more efficient. The goal here is to cut away the fluff and zero down on what matters most. People are usually occupied, yet hardly get anything done. They waste their time on meaningless pursuits. They fool themselves into believing they are making headway when, in fact, all they are doing is maintaining their current pace. That trap, however, will not ensnare you. You will not equate motion with advancement. You will be deliberate in everything that you do. You will be evaluated for every action you do. There will be a reason for everything you do, and you will promptly eliminate it from your life if it does not contribute to your purpose. The realization of how much time you are truly wasting will get you to this point when you will have your greatest breakthrough. You will see the reality when you begin to record your days and measure your actual time spent. More time is available to you than you may realize. The way you're utilizing it is completely incorrect. Everything will change when you correct this, eliminate any distractions, and set up a strategy to keep you locked in. The level of productivity you achieve skyrockets. Your advancement quickens. Your output increases. Once it used to take months, now it just takes weeks. Doing this for as little as 6 months can provide enormous results. Practicing complete self-control over your time by getting rid of everything that isn't helping you. Through the replacement of ineffective effort with dogged persistence, there will be no more squandered time from now on. Distractions have been eliminated. Now we can no longer make excuses. You should make the most of every moment. Your choices have consequences. If you are really dedicated to this and guard your time with the same zeal as champions, you will not recognize your life in 6 months. Being disciplined is the next logical step after taking control of your time. Your life will not be transformed by time on its own. Its usefulness depends on your purpose. This is the point at which the majority of individuals fall short. Aims are declared. Preparations are made. They make timetables. Their lack of self-control prevents them from seeing things through. They depend on inspiration. They put off getting the job done till they're in the mood. That is the reason they remain immobilized. Eliminating this flaw will have a profound impact on your life in the next 6 months. Stop. Let your emotions control what you do. You need to develop into the kind of person that always follows through. Because this is the reality. Achieving one's objectives requires self-control. Lacking skill, bad luck, rather than brilliance. Completely unwavering self-control. The capacity to do one's duties day in and day out, regardless of one's emotional state. Your true metamorphosis starts here. You will be unstoppable once you learn to act without doubt, when you break the tendency of overthinking, and when you no longer require incentive. If they don't overcome the obstacles, most individuals will never reach this point. They succumbed to their anguish. Their forward march was halted by insignificant roadblocks. They give up when the going gets tough. Yet champions flourish under adversity. Challenging situations do not faze them. It is something they wholeheartedly celebrate. Whatever it is, pain, exhaustion, uncertainty, they know it doesn't matter. Successful implementation is all that counts, and that is the frame of mind you have to embrace. My excuses are over. The discussions have ended. Never again will you have to wait for ideal circumstances. Your behavior will no longer be dictated by your emotions. The things that are required of you will dictate your behavior, meaning you won't click snooze and will really wake up when you say you will. This necessitates pushing beyond fatigue during physical training. Keeping at your objectives when no one is looking is essential. You will need to remove the expression, "I don't feel like," from your vocabulary as a result, because this is the reality. It makes no difference how you feel. What you do does. Emotions seem to rule most individuals. Motive is something they long for. Furthermore, they take no action when it is absent. They let themselves get carried away by their emotions, their diversions, and their temporary hardships. However, true champions have a broader perspective. Emotions are evoked by movement. Do not wait for a pleasant mood before acting. Feelings follow when you do action. The first 30 days will be the most challenging because of this. Because mental resistance is inevitable. Your unhelpful routines will resist change. You may feel like giving up. You need to ease off a little. There will be a plethora of mental obstacles attempting to divert your attention from the task at hand. This, however, is the turning point that determines success or failure. If you're having thoughts of giving up, what do? A true test will be that, and it's not hard to figure out. You persist. Anyway, you feel about it, in spite of your exhaustion, despite the many warnings your brain may provide, for the simple reason that you get stronger with each setback you overcome. Building confidence in oneself is an ongoing process that begins with keeping your word. When you keep going, even when giving up would have been easy, you build an unstoppable momentum. For that reason, the following 6 months will be completely unique from your previous experiences, because there will be absolutely no downtime this time around. This time, you're not going to take it easy. Excuses will not be entertained this time. You will learn to perform mechanically this time. And this is the key. Discipline is the key to success. If you have it, inspiration will be unnecessary. No one will have to prod you to get going. Pressure from outside sources is unnecessary. Feeling like it is not necessary, since everything will be taken care of automatically. Nobody ever gets to this point. Their actions are repetitively beginning and ending. After a few days of hard labor, they relax. After a short period of pushing, they begin to slow down. Though they fantasize about it, they never put in the work to build the habits that lead to success. And it's because of it that they're stuck in an endless cycle of misery, never satisfied despite persistent efforts. But you won't be that. Reason being, success will come when you form a habit of discipline rather than depending on external factors like inspiration or readiness, without fail. So, for the next half year, this is your task. Take emotion out of your performance. End of discussion. Stop wasting time. Forget about giving up when things become tough. You take action when necessary. You can be relied on to keep your word if you commit to anything. If you commit to a goal, you will not stop working toward it until you reach it. This mentality is what winners use. That is the dividing line between those who achieve their goals and those who fail miserably. Lucky breaks won't cut it. Skill is irrelevant. Being the kind of person that keeps going even when things become tough is key. If you can establish such self-control, dedicate yourself to such meticulous planning, and overcome any obstacles that come your way, you will be completely different in 6 months. The next step in the 6-month plan is to improve your standards in every aspect of your life. Once you have removed obstacles and established unbreakable discipline. Why? because self-control is insufficient. Perseverance is an option. Continual presence is possible. But you can't realize your full potential if you're not playing your game at the right level. To put up long hours is not the only objective. To perform at one's very best is the goal. When individuals have unrealistically low expectations, they always remain trapped. They deceive themselves into thinking they are making a difference when, in reality, they are just following their comfort zones. While they do their best, it's not enough to bring about a genuine change in them. They stop pushing themselves to their limits and settle for mediocrity instead. They are unable to succeed because of this. Simply said, you get out of life what you let into your life. Making excuses is a way of life if you're okay with it. You will remain average if you accept mediocrity. No amount of work will ever pay off if you settle for mediocrity. However, things will change for the better if you set higher goals for yourself and strive for excellence in everything that you do. The ruling class thinks like this. They don't give up. They are meticulous. They refuse to let themselves be dragged along by the crowd. They are exceptional in their work. They get more exercise. To put it simply, they are more effective. When it comes to themselves, they have higher expectations than everyone else. Consequently, they become very wealthy while the rest of society remains stagnant. And for the next 6 months, that is precisely what you need to accomplish. Work harder, be more disciplined, change your habits, change your thinking and become physically and mentally tougher. Maintaining a standard of excellence that pushes you to improve is essential. This necessitates going above and above. Enough is enough. No more putting in time when it's easy and taking breaks when things go tough. You put your whole self into everything you decide to do. When you commit to anything, you give it your all to see it through to completion. Upon awakening, you seize the day with the utmost determination, as if your whole existence were predicated on it. What this implies is that you need to work out more intensely than previously. More than simply turning up, exceeding your own expectations is essential. Putting in the time and effort, but also pushing yourself to your limits daily. Instead of stopping after 10 repetitions, you advance to 12. Instead of working for an hour, you put in 90 minutes. If you used to aim low, now you're aiming high. Because this is the reality. Under duress, growth can only occur. You are not developing as a person until you endure discomfort. If you aren't pushed to your limits, you won't grow. To grow, one must endure adversity. A lack of discomfort hinders development. Seeking out pain is essential if you want to transform your life within a span of 6 months. Obstacles should be sought for. Forcing oneself to develop on a daily basis is essential. Not many people do this. Struggle is something they want to avoid. They seek for the most direct route. Their desire to change is tempered by their aversion to discomfort. They are unable to realize their greatest potential because of this, since genuine change necessitates suffering. Sacrifice is necessary. It necessitates continuing when most people give up, and you're obligated to do it. Leveling up must become your obsession. You need to insist on nothing less than perfection. Regardless of how you think, act, train, or otherwise conduct yourself, it all matters. You can't have any holes in your discipline, any spots where you settle for second best. If anything isn't up to par, you take care of it right away. In a short amount of time, you may get tremendous results by following this method, by eliminating any potential drawbacks, through enhancing each facet of your existence. You may do this by constantly checking if your actions are yielding positive results. This is the point at which the majority of individuals fall short. They were rather good at setting an example at first, but then they slipped. Initially, they go forward, but later on, they halt. They have done what they thought they would accomplish, so they can now rest. And suddenly, they find themselves right back where they began. Rest assured, it will not transpire. Every day, you will continue to raise the bar. You won't only keep making strides, you'll accelerate. You are going to speed it up. You will not be satisfied with your actions alone. You are going to want more. Never again will you allow yourself to revert to your former self. This necessitates that you continually assess your own performance. You need to make sure you're paying attention. Asking yourself, did I give it my all today? Should be a daily habit. Was today more of an effort than yesterday? Was I as strict with myself as I might have been? In such case, you take swift action to rectify the situation. Ordinary won't cut it anymore. There can be no hesitancy. Reducing speed is not an option. You have complete command over your own destiny. Over the next 6 months, you'll perform at a level beyond what the majority of individuals can ever hope to achieve. Because there is no turning back once you set your sights higher and strive for perfection in all that you do. Embrace the unknown. Nothing less than your finest will do for you. However, you have now achieved mastery of your time, discipline, and expectations. Building an unbreakable mentality is the next step in this 6-month program. The key to success is not only putting in more hours, grind every day, but that's not all. Constructing an indestructible mental fortress is the goal. A strong mind that is unshaken by uncertainty, fear, and other negative emotions. The mental weakness of the majority of individuals prevents them from realizing their full potential. They succumbed to their fears. They get disheartened by little setbacks. Worrying about other people's opinions of them or dwelling on short-term failures cause them to lose focus. They are never consistent enough to achieve lasting success because of it. That trap, however, will not ensnare you. For the reason that starting now, you will teach your mind to overcome its weaknesses, its emotions, its anxieties, and every other challenge it faces. A mental resilience that lets you press on in the face of adversity will grow in you. And now comes the true test. Why? Because you will encounter difficulties throughout the subsequent 6 months. There will be times when you start to question yourself. On some days, you may have a strong desire to take it easy. However, it is in such instances that the victorious are distinguished from the others. When challenges arise, what steps do you take? A feeble intellect crumbles. Seeking a way out, it searches. Excuses begin to flow from it. Circumstances are subsequently blamed. However, a resilient mind never stops progressing. Neither does it shatter. There is no whining from it. It is not one to wallow in self-pity. It continues indefinitely. You need to think like this. I will not be stopped. No discomfort, have no dread, not struggle. Success, not failure. Completely no. Thoughts govern the majority of individuals. All they do is let pessimism rule, and their concerns are stoked. Instead of looking for solutions, they fixate on issues. But from now on, you're going to be the master of your own thoughts. You will be deliberate about the thoughts you let into your mind. The moment pessimistic ideas arise, you will eliminate them. No amount of hesitance, uncertainty, or fear will ever control you. Being brutal with your internal monologue is required. Saying, "I hope I succeed," is over. Stop hemming and hawing. I will give it my all. Put an end to worrying about falling short. Going forward, you will only use absolute language and concepts. No problem, I'll be successful. Yeah, I'll get it done. No one can stop me from becoming the boss. Because this is the reality. What you see as real is dependent on your thoughts. Believe in your ability to achieve, and you will. If you tell yourself you can do anything, you will. There is nothing in this world that can stop you if you think that you will keep going no matter what. But all it takes for weakness to set in is for even a grain of doubt to seep in, for dread to take up mental space, for hesitation to last for a split second. When you let yourself be weakened mentally, it quickly spreads. This is why safeguarding your attitude is of the utmost importance. In fact, it is your life's blood. Getting rid of pessimism is part of this. Anything that doesn't contribute to your own development should not be considered mental junk. You cut ties with those who bring you down if they are pessimistic, doubtful, or attempt to drag you back down to their level. In order to perform at your peak, you must eliminate all potential sources of distraction from your near vicinity, for the simple reason that every day you wage war within your own mind, and the outcome is always in your hands. You might be strong or weak when it comes to feeding. You are either strengthening your conviction that you can achieve anything, or you are letting self-doubt hold you back. Plus, this is the little-known secret that nobody ever figures out. The way you think determines the quality of your life. Nothing will come out of you if your thinking isn't strong. You can achieve great things if you put your mind to it. It is as easy as that. The next 6 months will be devoted to mental training with the same rigor as physical training, skill development, and self-control. It will be bolstered daily by you. Your thinking will be free of weaknesses. Distractions, pessimism, and fear will not have the power over you. In this way, it may be accomplished. When you put yourself out there, you invite difficulty. You subject yourself to challenging circumstances. You push yourself every single day. Doing activities that make you uncomfortable or even scared might really help you develop as a person, because pushing back is the only certain method to fortify your intellect. Almost nobody wants to fight. They try to find a route out that is simple. Avoiding pain is their first priority. However, it is the reason for their continued weakness. Because true strength is gained by persevering when others would give up, and you're obligated to do it. For the next 6 months, intentionally put yourself in situations where you will feel uneasy. You have to go after challenges. In order to grow, you need to push yourself to your limitations. Doing this regularly will build your strength. Nothing can stand in your way if you have a strong mentality. Are you prepared to take charge of your thoughts? Would you want to overcome your fears? Is the end of uncertainty and hesitancy in sight? Why? Because once you decide and commit to this degree of mental power, you won't be able to return to your previous mindset. The last component of this 6-month strategy for success is persistent execution. After you have established discipline, increased your standards, and created an unbreakable attitude. Simply said, without taking action, self-discipline is nothing. Without continuously executing at the greatest level without hesitation, all the proper behaviors, ideas, and methods will be for none. Overthinking prevents most individuals from acting on their potential. When the time is right, they seize it. They convince themselves that they need more time, more research, and more preparation, and it is the reason they remain trapped. Their plans never materialize, though they never act on their thoughts. And when they look back, they see that they should have acted sooner rather than later. They waited for the circumstances to be ideal the whole time. You, however, will not err from this point forth. Rather, you will transform into an execution machine. No hesitancy on your part. We will not wait for you. When faced with adversity, you will not back down. You are the kind of person who will get right into a task if it becomes urgent. This is the most significant change that will set you apart from the crowd, as the bulk of individuals only speak about their plans. Achieving their goals is their sacred desire. They promise themselves that they will do something when the time is right. On the other hand, champions keep quiet. Nightmares elude them. Daily, they carry out their executions. Just the facts already, without a doubt. Quick and easy. This is the secret to achieving remarkable results in only 6 months. I don't mean by acting impulsively. That is, not by holding off until all is blue sky. However, by acting immediately. Regardless of whether you know everything or not, even if you aren't really ready. No matter how loud your fears may be, you must face the reality. Removing fear requires action. Confidence is built via action. Movement generates energy. The common belief is that one must have self-assurance before acting. On the contrary, it is true. Thinking does not give one confidence. Doing is where it is found. You get stronger the more you take action, challenge yourself, and go into the unknown. Things that used to terrify you, cause you to second-guess yourself, or seem insurmountable suddenly become second nature. Thus, going forward, you will act with a sense of urgency. Ditch the put-offs now. The wait is over. Oh, I'll take care of it later. You get things done right away if they are urgent. You are not shy about seizing opportunities when they present themselves. You don't back down when faced with adversity. This bodes well for your ability to outpace the competition. Put up more effort, you are going to keep going. And that is why you will stand out from the others. You will be 10 steps ahead of the game, gaining ground, achieving success, while everyone else is still pondering, arguing, and making excuses. And this is the key that top achievers know. Priority is given to swiftness. Possibilities multiply in proportion to your speed. Achieving your goals gets simpler as you gain momentum, because nothing can stop you once you're moving, once you're locked in, and once you have momentum. Because they never move quickly enough to get actual momentum, the majority of individuals never get to feel this. They halt and begin again. They go forward, then pause. They get going, then they bog down. But winners keep going. They are always on the go. Once they start to see results, they don't slow down. They are continuing to speed up. Moreover, during the next 6 months, you are obligated to do just that. Your behavior has to change. The pace and intensity of your execution will be beyond the capabilities of the average person. You need to overcome fear, stop hesitating, and start moving ahead without delay. Because this is the surest way to achieve rapid success. Magic does not exist. This is not a matter of bad luck. The formula is not top secret. Day in and day out, it's simply huge, non-stop activity. The key is to make sure every second counts. Progress is being made regardless of obstacles. It means pushing through obstacles head-on and never letting up, never settling for less than your very best, and never taking things easy. Doing so will lead you to a profound realization. What you're capable of surpasses your wildest dreams. Those boundaries you believed existed were always an illusion. Those uncertainties you felt within were nothing more than delusions. Whatever it was that made you nervous in the past, those things are now nothing more than roadblocks. However, you're starting to move now. This is the execution phase. This is your chance to prove to yourself that you are unstoppable. You can't return to your old self once you begin functioning at this level, when you make execution your default setting. Here is where change occurs. Never again will you be the kind to pause, second-guess, or allow fear or lethargy to hold you back. You will have transformed into a whole new person, quick, nimble, and unstoppable in everything that you do. Now, you must ask, am I prepared to unleash my full potential? Will I be able to go further, work quicker, and exert more effort than before? Until my achievement becomes certain, are I prepared to do away with doubt, fear, and hesitancy and instead take enormous action daily? The next 6 months will be the most transformative of your life if you said yes. It is clear that you have decided. Most individuals will never make this choice. Choosing to be completely responsible for your schedule, self-control, attitude, and actions. Choosing to devote the next 6 months to becoming your best self, in terms of strength, intelligence, and unstoppability, through intense concentration and continuous movement. After this, following through is the last step, because this is the reality. You may gain years of progress in only 6 months of intense attention. It just takes 6 months of letting go of procrastination, excuses, and diversions to transform your life. You may get from where you are now to an unbelievable position in only 6 months if you execute every single day without fail, waste time or interruptions. That is, until you give it your all. Full stop. The attitude of, "I'll give it my best shot," is wrong. Please don't make excuses about how difficult it may be. To the letter, in light of everything that you possess, with all the energy, concentration, and self-control you can muster. Nobody ever does this. The pattern of beginning and ending does not change for them. They get a little farther before they rest. After being pumped up, they quickly lose interest. And that is why they are blind to their own abilities. You, however, do not conform to the norm. The truth has been revealed to you. You are aware that merit is not a factor in achieving success. Waiting is not the point. Wishing for a change is not the point. Doing things without stopping is key. Since this is the beginning, there is no going back. Doing your part is your game plan. You will rise to the challenge of achieving your objectives every day. You are going to safeguard your time. There is no limit to how far you can push yourself. In order to speed up your progress, you will get rid of any potential weaknesses, distractions, or excuses. Your execution will be pinpoint accurate, laser-focused, and driven by an insatiable appetite that defines true champions. Plus, in hindsight, you'll see that this was the turning point 6 months from now. As soon as you ceased to be patient, when you finally quit blaming others, it was at that very time that you resolved to overcome any obstacle that stood in your way. This is only the beginning. This is just the first step. Because nothing can ever return to how it was before you become the person you are shaping over the next 6 months. You will never want to slow down again once you reach this level, once you generate this type of momentum, and once you discover how strong you actually are. Then, off you go. Quicken your pace. Proceed with intent. Act with the type of determination that makes things happen, since the next 6 months are at your disposal. Plus, after they end, nobody will be able to tell you we're ever here.